Okay, hello everybody. Now I'm recording. So this is going to be available for all of you after the class. So hi, if you're live, thank you for being live with me. I appreciate when you come to the live uh, sessions. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for supporting the library. I'm available on Slack, on email for any questions after the class. It always helpful to watch the class, the recording, so you can, find anything that you may have missed or to review anything that you need to review. So again, my name is Isabel, and one second. I'm clicking so much, I'm afraid I'm gonna do something dumb. Okay, so like I said, in the meantime, while I was setting up every recording, is you can go to the open processing. So it's openprocessing.org. You go and open a website, a browser, and then log in. Like I'm gonna show you. So you can watch now if you've never done this before, and then try to do it yourself. And then you sign in. And some of you, I know you have done this before today. So you're gonna have this site that it tells you your account, and then we're gonna go to the top right corner and find where it says create a sketch. It's a red button, and I'm hoping I'm showing. You guys can see because last time, so I need confirmation, somebody that you can see the screen. My buddies that always check if I'm good, if you can tell me on Slack. All good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So you can create a sketch, and then you're going to have the default for open processing. And of course, you can use there are a lot of alternatives, but I'm using open processing, so we all have the same code editor. So the code editor is where we're going to input the code, and then we're going to have an output. So with the open processing, we have on the left, we have the code editor, is where you're going to type the code. Right now, the first you're going to do is erase it. So going to go ahead on your keyboard and click the back space and erase the whole code, because it's helpful to have this now, but we don't not going to need it because we have to learn. So erase the whole code. And then here on the right, you're going to, well, yours is set up differently. So let me change it the way yours are set up right now. So you're going to have the sketch code. And then when you click, you're going to click play, and it's going to be a new window that is going to run the code. And to go back to the code, you're going to go and click this two triangles. But I want to have a sketch on the left and the output on the right. So we're going to go here where this corner, top corner to the right, and you're going to click, and it's going to be a panel, a black panel, and there's going to be three little subtitles: sketch, file, and editor. So I'm going to do it again. If that panel is not open for you, just click these bars here, these three bars with three circles. You click that, and you're going to have sketch, file, and editor. So you're going to have something like this. So for under sketch, make sure you have chosen P5JS. So if you took this class last week with me, you were using PJS. But today we're doing something different. So you're going to leave it on P5JS. Okay, so everybody's doing P5JS? Yes, yes. The handouts are in the Zoom chat and also on the Slack under the right here on Tuesday class. You're gonna find the handout right here and also in the Zoom chat. So make sure you have your P5JS chosen, and then you're gonna go to Editor, and under Layout, we're gonna choose the second rectangle. So right now we are in this choice, and I want everybody to click here. So we get the output with the code. So we get two panels in one window. So everybody got that? So make sure you go to here to editor and you choose the second rectangle. So how's it going? Is it going good? Everybody got it or not? This is the hardest part of the whole class. After this is easy. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. So then you're gonna see the X and you click the X and the panel is gonna hide. And then if you want the panel to come back, just click those three bars and three circles and it'll show up. So at this point, you should have something similar to what I have on the screen. So you have an empty sketch on the right, and you're gonna have these circles that were moving before, but now it's not moving because we erased the code. So it's kaput right now. So that's fine because we're gonna write code. So so let's start to writing code. And let me get my, so P5JS is basically JavaScript, but it's to draw, it's to make visual images. So similar to what we're doing in processing, but processing was Java. And the good thing about P5JS, we can load it up on the web easier than processing because processing is on Java and Windows, the internet doesn't do Java anymore since a long time. So, so that's what is the power of P5JS. And if you go to the handout, and remember the handout is on the Zoom chat and also on Slack right here. You can click on this post here that is on the Tuesday class 2021. You can click here and you're gonna have the handout. And so a great goal for this class will be to teach yourself to do new things. So I'm gonna give you the basics and then you can use Google or find the reference for, there is a reference I'm gonna give you that is on the handout that has all the functions that you need to know for P5JS. And if you know JavaScript, is a good transition. And if you wanna learn JavaScript, it helps you learn JavaScript. And so there's more information here and you can read it on your own leisure later and watch some videos. And here's a review of what we just did. So if tomorrow you forgot what we did today, here is a little notes how to do the editor. So we're gonna take this code. So I'm gonna run this code. I'm not gonna tell you what it does or anything. Let's go and go crazy and do something that we never done before. So I'm gonna put this code on the Zoom chat, but you can also, if you have the handout, you can click here, copy, and then paste it on the code editor. And I'm gonna put it on the Slack, and I go here to code, and sometimes, yeah. So you just take that code. Let me do it again. Oh, it's because it took it from Zoom. Let me get it right. So it has all the indentation. The indentation, it doesn't matter as much as it does in Python, but it's good to have it organized. So we're gonna go here to our sketch, and right here, what did you see? You're gonna see a faded one in gray. You're gonna paste that code. So you're gonna have function setup and parentheses, open curly bracket, and inside that you're gonna have the function create canvas 400, 400, semicolon, and then you're gonna have another function, which is function draw, parentheses, curly bracket, and then the background. It has a number, and we're gonna talk about that number. Okay, so when you had that done, click the play button and see what happened. So the play button is right here. And I'm gonna do it again if you get lost. So you wanna watch now, and then I'll do it again. So you're gonna click the play button, and you're gonna see what happened. Okay, so something happened. And we're gonna talk about what happened. So let me do this again. I'm gonna erase this. I'm gonna paste the code. And then I'm gonna rerun it. You don't have that play button anymore. You can just click here in that circle and it'll play again. So for all of you who are new today, never done this before, just let me know if it works. Or maybe you wanna try later, that's fine. So hopefully it worked for everybody. So okay, so somebody told me it worked. Good, good. So what happened here? Anybody has any idea what happened? What did we draw? Did we draw anything? Yeah, created a canvas. And of course, there is a function. Here's the clue. Yeah, create a canvas. So it created a canvas 400 by 400 pixels. So that's what you see here. And then the background is 220. So the background is the color 220. We're gonna talk about that. So if I delete this, you don't have to delete it, I just wanna show you. If I delete this, I'm gonna run it. So now what is going on? I created a canvas, but the default color for P5GS is transparent. So there is still a canvas here, it's transparent, we cannot see it. So when we add a background, and before it was 220, and we put the semicolon, and we run it, we're telling the output here, the code editor, give me something of color 220. And that's why we get this color. But if that's what this is doing, it's drawing the display here. So the first function is gonna create a canvas 400 by 400, and you can change these numbers. You can do 500. It doesn't have to be the same. You can do, crazy numbers. You can play with it. As long as there are no decimals, you can change it. So it changes. You can change the colors, and we're gonna talk about the colors right now, what that means. So once you have that, you can save it. So, and keep working on it. So remember to save it. When you save it, you can just, my first sketch or whatever you want, you submit it, and then you can keep working on it. Because if you don't save it, it'll go away. And you're never gonna see it again. So, so you just draw the canvas, and the canvas is a coordinate. So it's a square, it's a grid. It has a X and Y. So this is this goes down here. So this is going to be 0, 0, and then this is going to be 120, 400. So this is the horizontal, 120 is the horizontal, and 400 is the vertical size. So you're going to use that information, X and Y, horizontal and vertical, kind of like in a map, a coordinate, to put things in this canvas. And we're going to add things. So that's why the canvas gives us a map, and we can add things there by specifying the location. So let's do that. So you can go ahead and copy this code that I have here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it in the Zoom chat and also on Slack, so it's easier for you, all of you, to copy paste, or you can do it from the notes. And you can erase all this stuff again because it's just easier, and paste it. Or you can just add this code. That's the only difference between the one. Well, I didn't put the background. So go ahead and run that and let me know what happens. What did you get when you run this? Did you see anything different? Small text to the left. A small rectangle. Yeah, so awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to run it, and you're going to see this small rectangle. So remember, we don't have the background, so the default color is transparent, but there is a background there. And then we just draw a rectangle. So that's your first shape in P5.js. Yeah. And, there is rectangle, there is circle, there is ellipse, there is so on. And there is a lot of things you can do about that. So just a quick review here. 40 is the horizontal, so it's your X. And this is a Y. And this is the width and the height. So you can experiment by changing this. So let's put 0 and see what happens. So it moved. Let's do 0 and 400. So you can change the location. So now I change the location all the way down here. So let's move it a little bit so I can look, and you can play along this as long as you want. You can change the size. So you can put 150, and that's going to be the width. And you can put 2.5. And of course, if you make it bigger, you won't see it. So right here is cutting out because it went outside the canvas. Functions and pictures could not be shown at the same screen. You have to go here. I think that's what she's asking me. You have to go to this icon on the top corner, and there's going to be a sketch, files, and editor. And you click on editor, and then you're going to click this rectangle right here. And then it should be this one. So let's go and put a background so we can see what is background. And you can do 220 again and semicolon and rerun it again. So now you can see where the canvas is and you know what's going on. I put this too low. So it's this, the rectangle is getting cut off because this is 50x and then 200 is around here. So it went over because the rectangle is longer. So you can play, this is going to give you some ideas on how to manipulate the shapes and change them around. Okay, any questions about that? No questions? Okay, so let's talk about color since we are adding color. So when you have one number, and that is going to be helpful when we go into HTML and CSS, when you have just one parameter, we're on the grayscale. What does the grayscale mean? The grayscale means that 0 is black and 255 is white. And anything in between is it's something in between black and white. So that's why 220 is almost gray, but then if you put 0, if you change it to 0, it's gonna be what? It's gonna be black. And then you can start getting it closer and it's gonna be gray, and then it'll be lighter gray, and lighter gray. So that's how you do colors with one parameter. So that's the grayscale. But we can have a lot more colors. And to have a lot more colors with these 3 parameters, which is red, green, and blue, which is the RGB. So the first one, the first parameter here, that's red. The one in the middle is green, and the last one is blue. So you add whatever amount of green, amount of, so the maximum amount you can add of red is 255. The minimum amount of red you can add is 0. And then for green, the same, the darker the green is 255, the lighter the green is closer to 0. And blue is the same one. The greater value is 255, is darkest green, and then the lowest number is the lighter green. And then you can create combinations of the 3. So you can be, you can start experimenting here and see what color you get. I don't know what color I'm gonna get, but you can start combining different numbers. There are also tables that have all the colors and more that you need. So you can go here to this table and ignore here the one in the middle right now because we're not going to apply it. Those are other kind of codes that we can use to call colors, but we're not going to do them right now. Just concentrate on the RGB colors. So you can see the orange is 255, 128, 0, and then yellow changes here. So you can use this to get the right colors. You can go also to a website here, and here you can actually pick a color and it's gonna give you the value for the RGB. So you can copy paste it and put it in your code without the RGB, of course. You have to take this RGB out. But you can have fun picking up all kind of colors here, and there are different sites where you can go and pick up pretty colors. And that will be very helpful because we're going to create impactful visual art. So try to make another color here for your background. And you can also draw color, the shape, but we're going to do it later. So any questions so far about anything? All good? So when you have time, just try to play around with these combinations and change the colors and see what you get. So right now we're gonna move into animation. So we're gonna do a short animation today. So if you were with me last class, you know that you might know a little bit more, but I'm just gonna repeat it for the people who are new. So this function here, let me copy paste this. You don't need to put it on. I'm just gonna put it here so you all can see it. So the first function, the function setup, is a function that's happening only once. So the code is gonna run only once. The other function draw is gonna have a loop, a forever loop. So forever loops are something that we don't like in programming, especially if you ever had a computer that started spinning, that spinning wheel, and then you have to shut it off because it never start running. That's a forever loop. So what happens is the code never stops running. So we have to be able to stop it. But in animation, it's actually a good thing to have something running constantly. So an animation, basically, if you ever done these flip books where you draw and then you use it like in the video here. So that's what happened. You have a forever loop. Well, not forever because you run out of paper, but you're running something over and over and over and over, and you can see a movement. Size is a Java and create canvas is P5GS. That's the only difference. And the functions that we have here, these are functions, and that's a great question. Thank you for asking. These are functions that we use for P5GS. The functions that we used last week for processing are processing functions, and they don't work. And that's why we had to change our sketch today to P5GS. Because if we put, these are the functions that work for P5GS. And the other ones that we saw last week, they work only for processing. So today, we not gonna use any processing. We're just gonna use P5GS. No, we had moved to JavaScript. And of course, it's so confusing because JavaScript, they sound so familiar. But so today we're doing JavaScript, and P5GS is like the artsy way of doing JavaScript. It's like a library, a whole tool of functions that allow us to draw with JavaScript. And that's what P5GS is like drawing. It's our little drawing ability to draw with JavaScript. So I know it's very confusing, and that's why I have a video here. Right here, this really nice gentleman here. And if that's what I said, if anything that I said today doesn't make any sense, please watch him. He's very nice, very funny, and in 12 minutes, he can explain it better than I can explain in 2 hours. So just watch that. But today we're doing P5GS, and that's why I'm glad I remember to remind me to make that clarification. So this is very similar to what we did last week, but with different letters. So the first function, it happens only once, and the second function happens forever. So let's think what things we want to happen forever and what things we happen to create happen only once. So I'm going to give you a little clue. So I'm going to put here a drawing here, a code, and I'm going to give you the code, but first I want you to look at it, and then I'm going to give you the code. So don't run it, just watch. and I'm gonna run it. So it has the functions set up, which runs only one. It's gonna create a canvas, and this create canvas only goes always goes on this function. It never goes in the second function. This is one of the few things that only goes in the first function. It cannot be switched. Everything else, it'll switch. So create canvas only goes in the function setup. So the canvas gets created only once. It's not going to be created over and over and over. And that's why we don't put it here, because it'll crash. Something will crash. The background, we're going to put it on the second one. This one, it can go either way. It can go in the first function, in the setup function, it can go in the draw function. But we're going to put in the draw function, which means that the background is going to be drawn repeatedly. It's going to be running constantly. So I'm running it and nothing is happening. So the question for all of you, and some of you know the answer, and what if this is running constantly, why I don't see an animation? Why there is no animation? I don't see it. So anybody knows. So this background is running forever, because that's what it is. The second function is supposed to run forever. So thank you. So that's what's happening. We are humans. We are not a machine. That's why human created machines, to do amazing things that we cannot do. So the machine is running this really, really fast, so fast that our eyes cannot see it. They cannot see it, but it's happening. It's actually drawing it, it's painting. You're gonna, if you take a picture of this with a very good camera and you start slowing them down, slowing, making it a very slow motion, you're gonna see eventually how the background gets color. Like it's gonna be gray, and then it's not gonna be gray, and then it's gonna be gray, it's not gonna be gray, then it's gonna be gray, it's not gonna be gray. So that's what's happening. But remember, we are no machine, so our eyes cannot catch it. So we have to change something else. So remember how the flip book is? So think about when you do the flip book, what is the trick to make it look like the little stick man or stick girl is moving? So let's try one more thing, and then I'm going to put the code. I'm going to put the code in the Zoom and copy paste it. And then here on Slack too. And I'm going to run it again. And then we have the create canvas as usual in the first function, the setup function, and then the draw. We have the background like we had it before, and now we're going to circle. It could be a circle, but we just call it ellipse. So we're going to run it and see what happened. So now we have a circle. So again, this circle is getting draw and draw over and over and over. So basically the first thing is happening is the background gets draw, and then the ellipse, the circle gets draw. I'm gonna change this to an ellipse so it looks more like an ellipse. No? Oh, I changed it, sorry, silly me. Okay, now it looks like an ellipse. I can call it an ellipse. So, so this ellipse is being drawn and drawn over and over and over. So we need to do something to change it. So what we're gonna do is change the position. So we're gonna do under the X, remember I said this is X, so the horizontal. So I'm gonna call it mouse X. So you can type right here on the first parameter of the ellipse, just type mouse X. On the second one, type mouse Y. And I'm gonna put the code again So for those of you who need help here, and I hope it works. Can you imagine? I talk so much and then it doesn't work. So let's try to run it. Caps, no caps. Oh, yeah, see, thank you. So the mouse is in lower cap, the X is in caps. So mouse is no caps, X is caps, mouse is no caps, Y is caps. So low caps, mouse, and the X and Y is high is caps. Okay, so just clarify that. Run it. So go ahead and run it and let me know what happens. So how everybody else is doing. Yeah, so you see something moving. Yeah, so that's amazing. So now anytime you move the mouse, you see it. So what is happening now is that it's getting draw anytime you move the mouse. So it's not like it's getting draw anytime you move the mouse. It's records the position now. So when I move it, the computer is recording that. But something else, so you're gonna find out something interesting that happened. So let's take this background. So you're gonna see here is we see an animation because we change the position, because we can see the change of position. And also it gets drawn every time. It records the change of position. So it gets like I'm here and it changes, and then I do this and it changes. So you see that changing. But there is something cool happening in the background there too. So let's take the background, and everybody that was here last week will know what it is. So don't tell anybody about it. Leave it as a surprise. So we're gonna move the background to the first function, and then you're gonna run it again. And I want one of the new people today to let me know what happens. See if it works. The caterpillar. Yeah, the caterpillar. So now we have a caterpillar, and everybody's going to have a different one if you change the parameter of the lips. So what's going on is the background, we moved it to the top. So what happened at the top? It runs only once. So so what we see is all the different iterations of the drawing of the ellipse. So now we see, but now what happened? Let's go and move the background back to the second function and run it. So you see the difference. When you put the background in the first function, in the setup function, is fixed. The background is get drawn only once. In the second function, it's gonna keep drawing over and over and over and over. So that's why you don't see the caterpillar effect. I like that, caterpillar effect. You don't see that because it gets, the circle is drawn and the background is drawn on top of it. And then the circle is drawn and the background is top of it. So you don't see what's going on. But that's what is really going on. So if we move the background here and we run it again, this is what's going on. It's just the background, when it's on this draw function, is blocking for us to see it. It's like going it's erasing the last circle. You know, erasing it from us. So this is all an illusion. Animation is an illusion we have created with these tools. So what is really happening is not what we wrote in the code. What we see as human is not what actually the computer is doing. So it's a very interesting idea, because you're going to create illusions with your code. You're going to, and that's the power of this visual art coding. You're going to create this artful graphics with code, and the machine is going to come up with this illusion, this thing that is going to provide beautiful image, emotion, feelings to the people who are going to see it. But you're just writing code. So that's what is so powerful about this. So, and that's what is impactful about it. So that's in the point of view of the machine, is not what's really happening. It's just drawing a background once, and then it's drawing a circle many, many times. But the effect is much more than just that simple code. So imagine what you can do right now with those little tools you have today. How can you add color? So you can start adding color here. So you can do, I'm gonna give you one, because next week we're gonna do more, but I'm gonna give you just one thing so you can play around with the color. And it's right here. So we're gonna do a fill, and then we're gonna put this fill here, and then we're gonna run it, and look what you can do. So if you put the fill here above, before the shape, you can change the color of the shape. So you can play around here and do different effects. You can do, or you can find a color you like. Like I have a plugged in here that gives me different colors. So I can grab one of these, and I can take this. If you're gonna let me, 234, 72, 219, 234, 230, 124, 120, and 207. So I just gonna put this one. So you can change, you can start creating. So the other one, you can do rectangle, and you can do a fixed one, or you can do also mouse. And for the mouse, you don't have to be so inflexible. You can actually put Y, mouse Y, comma, mouse X, and you can put 20 and 50 just to have something. And then we can rerun it, and then see, you can have that, and you can change the color of, add a different color. So it looks totally different. So let's do blue, or let's do this one and see what do we get. So see, so you have something around there, and you can start moving things around and changes. So remember, if you want to do the caterpillar effect, the background needs to be on the setup function, because you get the caterpillar effect when the background is drawn only once. So you're gonna put it here. Okay, and you can change, you can start practicing here, moving different things, changing the color, changing also the position. If you put the rectangle before the ellipse, it changes too, because the rectangle is gonna be drawn behind the ellipse. So you have this effect where the rectangle is behind the ellipse. So the first thing that gets drawn is what it goes behind. So it's like the rectangle and is drawn, and then the ellipse is drawn on top. And you can put another rectangle here, and it's gonna be drawn on top. So the order is written from top to bottom. It makes a difference what goes on top and what goes in the back. Okay. So any questions so far? We're almost out of time. I just want to show you one thing. If you ever have a question and you want to let me know if something, how to fix something. For example, like I'm gonna do this, which is what sometimes I do this by mistake. So I'm making a mistake right now and I'm gonna get an error. The error is gonna be the compiler. So this is the compiler. So the compiler is something that the code editor has to let us know when we make a mistake. And it's gonna give us a message. This message, it says here, is a very convoluted message because it's a machine giving us information, it's not a human. But the thing we have to look here, sometimes there is a clue here. So the clue here is, it may seem that you may have accidentally written mouse X instead of mouse X with the proper capitalization. And then it has line 13. So this line 13 is another clue to know there is something wrong on line 13. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, if you get a message that you cannot fix, please send me a screenshot. So use your preferred screenshot and make sure you get the screenshot with the message. And then you can take the picture and put it on Slack. And you can send me a direct message. You can put a direct message here. And I'm just gonna send to myself, but you can choose me, and then you're gonna find the screenshot and you're gonna drag it right here. And then you can tell me, give me some background, what you were trying to do and what is going on. Like, give me specific information about what you wanted to happen and what you need help with, and I can help you with that. So, and then when I fix this, when I put the right one, I can run it and then it goes away. So for example, if I miss one of the semicolon, so I delete a semicolon, I'm gonna run it again. This is, I don't get an error, but there is something that's gonna break eventually. So it's one of the things that in programming you have to be careful, because just because you don't get an error doesn't mean it's incorrect, but something won't do what it's supposed to do. So when you write code, you have to ask, is this what I'm trying to do? Is this working correctly? How to get your screenshot? If you have a Mac, you go do Command Shift 4. If you don't have, you have a PC, you have to use, what's it called? Please help me. What's it called? The snippet. It's called a snippet. And you just have to get it from somebody on Slack can help me out. Maybe had a PC handy. I forgot how you call that thing. So